We are not even halfway through 2024, and yet already we know which TV show will be remembered in the future as the best show of the year, Shogun. Now that we got the confirmation that there will be at least 2 more seasons to the show, we are even more hooked on the story. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I could not stop myself from reading about Shogun and the real story behind it since the first season ended. So I decided to share everything I learned so far with you guys. Without further ado, let's dive in. As you all know, the series is adapted from James Clavell's acclaimed novel Shogun. But the thing is, the book itself was also inspired by the real-life events that took place in Japan back in the 16th and 17th centuries. Our leading character, Lord Toranaga, was actually based on the real-life Japanese leader Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate that ruled Japan for more than 200 years. Born as Matsudaira Takekiyo, Ieyasu was the son of a minor daimyo in Mikawa province. At a younger age, he was taken as a hostage by the Imagawa clan. After the fall of the Imagawa clan, Ieyasu allied himself with Oda Nobunaga, one of the most powerful warlords of the time. And soon you will realize that Ieyasu has become a master in forming powerful alliances, always knowing which partnership would lead to the best outcome. Following Nobunaga's death, Ieyasu formed an alliance with Toyotomi Hideyoshi, another powerful unifier of Japan. After Hideyoshi's death in 1598, Japan was divided among several factions. Ieyasu emerged as the leader of the Eastern Army. In 1600, Ieyasu defeated the Western Army led by Ishira Mitsunari at the Battle of Sekigahara. After this victory, Ieyasu became the dominant power in Japan. In 1603, Ieyasu was appointed shogun by the emperor, officially establishing the Tokugawa shogunate. From that point on, Japan has enjoyed peace and stability for decades to come. In Toranaga's character, we see all the characteristics that made Tokugawa a successful leader. In the series, Lord Toranaga is portrayed as a highly intelligent and strategic thinker. He is depicted as a master of manipulation and diplomacy, always several steps ahead of his rivals and allies. He is also very ambitious, especially when it comes to unifying Japan and becoming its ultimate ruler. He also blends both ruthlessness and benevolence perfectly in his character, which makes us feel like we are watching the real-life Tokugawa instead of his novel adaptation. Our other leading character, John Blackthorne, is also inspired by a real-life English sailor named William Adams. Born in 1564, Adams was trained as a shipwright and seaman and served in the Royal Navy at the time. In 1598, he joined a fleet of 5 Dutch ships bound for the East Indies, serving as the pilot major. The fleet aimed to establish trade routes and find new opportunities in Asia. After a perilous journey, Adams' ship, the Leifde, arrived in Japan in 1600. From that point on, the entire trajectory of Adams' life has changed. The ship landed on the island of Kyushu, where Adams and his crew were initially detained. Adams was brought before Tokugawa Ieyasu, just like Blackthorne's meeting with Toranaga. Ieyasu, who was not a shogun yet, was impressed with Adams' knowledge of shipbuilding, navigation, and Western technology. Eventually, Adams became a trusted advisor to Ieyasu, helping to build Japan's first Western-style ships and assisting in diplomatic and trade matters. Later, Ieyasu granted Adams the title of samurai and gave him the Japanese name Miura Anjin. He was also awarded land and a stipend, making him one of the few Westerners to achieve such status in Japan. This unique relationship between the two acted as a cultural bridge between Japan and Britain. It is also the central point of both Clavell's novel and the TV show. The real-life Adams spent the remainder of his life in Japan, where he married a Japanese woman and had children. In the TV show, we are yet to see Blackthorne's entire life in Japan, but now that the new seasons are coming, there is a high chance that we will watch him later in life with his wife and children. Now, you may expect to hear that Lady Mariko was also based on a real-life Japanese woman. Unfortunately, she was not. She was more of a combination of multiple women in history at the time. But her strongest real-life counterpart is considered to be Hosokawa Gracia, who was a Christian Japanese woman from a noble family. She was fluent in both Portuguese and Latin, making her a very unique figure for the 16th century. The interesting part, however, was the fact that she actually died in 1600, the very year that Adams landed in Japan. So unlike Blackthorne and Mariko, their real-life counterparts have never actually met. Obviously, there are certain differences between reality and fiction to add more dramatization to the story. But honestly, these slight historical inaccuracies do not bother me in the slightest. In fact, I'm glad that we got these changes in the story, making it even more enjoyable to watch. But what do you think? Were you familiar with the Tokugawa shogunate before watching Shogun? Or are you new to this exciting period in history just like me? If you learned anything new from this video, leave me a book emoji below so that I know I did something valuable for my lovely followers today. Are you also mesmerized by the real-life historical figures behind the fictional characters? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.